Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh responds to a female influencer who claims that women like to see men cry and show emotion. The illegal truck driver who killed 3 U.S. citizens failed an English speaking exam and a signed exam administered by authorities. Omar Fateh continues to campaign with one campaign event having no United States flags and no English speaking. Bugatti is sold out until 2029, and Drinkmate recalls their 1 liter carbonated bottles. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends and tell your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, Bugatti, well, they're sold out until 2029. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Motor1.com, specifically Anthony, who's a writer over there. For once, I don't need to give you a visual disclaimer because these automobiles are gorgeous feats of art and engineering, and they look amazing. And they say, quote, Bugatti is sold out until 2029. The new 1,800 horsepower tourbillon will keep many at the company busy. Here you can see that iconic vehicle and all of its awesomeness. Oh, it is a thing of beauty. Unfortunately for me, it's not my cup of tea because it's automatic transmission. If you really want to make a great car, you should have 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission, so I won't be getting one. Of course, it also costs millions upon millions of dollars, so there is that issue there in terms of my barrier to purchase as well. Interestingly enough, it looks like they have the French flag on it. Perhaps the only useful contribution to society from France would be Bugatti. Also, the bikini. What else have French people invented? Well, disappointing France. They have bad firearms. Their vehicles are mostly mediocre. I think Bugatti's the only one that's worthwhile. This concludes everything you need to know about the country of France. I guess smoking and the Eiffel Tower. That's other things they're known for. I'm sure they have many accomplishments. But in all seriousness, going to the article, they say, quote, the automotive industry is volatile. Emerging technologies, changing government regulations, tariffs, and finicky customer trends make planning for the next model year a Herculean effort and has an amount of hope and stress. It's why many automakers play safe with their products, but there are outliers like Bugatti. Demand for the brand's newest hypercars is so high that any potential buyers will have to wait years for their car if they can order one at all. And all that is good for the bespoke automaker, which is kind of the big benefit of most luxury items. Usually the people are the top 0.5% of earners in the world. They tend to weather pretty much any economic struggles. They tend to be pretty secure with their investments, where if you put down deposit for a Bugatti or one of the other hypercars out there, you're not going to be hurting for cash. I mean, that's why a lot of people make fun of Koenigsegg. Again, they make magnificent works because of art. I think Bugatti's better because Bugatti does give you a third pedal option in some cases. But since it's where people say it's so ridiculous, people put down a deposit of $180,000 and wait 3 years to get their Koenigsegg. I mean, they could be making so much money by putting that money into the, an S&P 500 index fund. Not financial advice, but the money would grow quite well, historically speaking. But also, the people that have that type of money, $180K for a deposit is nothing for them. Now, they say Bugatti's design director, Frank Hinkel, told CarBuzz that the brand has so many orders that it makes it easy for Bugatti to plan ahead. It's all set, he said. Or it's all set, he said. Dyslexia is a real thing. He told the publication that finishing up the Boldy production and beginning to build the tourbillon will keep me busy for the next 4 years until it's sold out in 2029. Here you see the rear of that vehicle, which usually a fan, but there's a lot of curves on that rear. Pretty good. I think it could be a little bit better. Now he said, quote, if you have this financial stability as a business owner, it works out very solid. This gives Bugatti plenty of time to figure out what comes after the tourbillon. Thankfully you can disable this part, but it is a hybrid hypercar with 3 electronic motors and an 8.4 liter V16 16 cylinders of glory, making 1,800 horsepower, and can propel the car to 60 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. Costs around $4 million to start, but look, good luck getting one. If you have that cash for that kind of performance and haven't already placed your tour billion order, you'll have to set a reminder for 2029 to see what Bugatti cooks up next. The company has plenty of time to figure that out, and we're already excited, which, yeah, it's one of those things where that's one of the best positions to be in as an automotive manufacturer. Again, the margins are a lot better. Well, nowadays, Bugatti Veyron actually lost, I believe it was Volkswagen was at $1.2 or $1.5 billion per car. Even when they sold it for $1 million, they put that much research development investment behind it, which is impressive. It's kind of impressive in and of itself in terms of just doing whatever it takes to make the fastest car in history at the time. And again, the front looks a lot better, I think, than this one. It looks awesome. Performance is amazing. And again, they got plenty of time to figure out what's next. I don't know. I'm biased. I think it'd be nice for it not to be a hybrid. Now, granted, the type of billionaires and millionaires who are buying these things probably don't care about long-term reliability, having to worry about, those batteries lasting 10, 15 years plus, and trying to find replacement for those. I mean, the McLaren battery costs more than a house. Apparently, owners don't care. They keep buying those disposable vehicles. Someone like me, I buy a gas car and it'll last me a lifetime. Knock on wood, my Honda Civic Si already has 87,000 miles on it, running like a champ. And I should get another couple 100,000, maybe 300,000 miles out of that car. But that's just me. But again, it is cool, and all the EVs out there. There's still some moderate purist vehicles being put out there. And again, I'm not surprised that their order book is so good that they are completely sold out. But let me know, if you had the capital to buy a multi-million-dollar supercar, would you pick the new Bugatti or would you get something else? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Problem podcast, you have Matt Walsh responding to a woman claiming that females like to see men cry and show emotion, which, spoiler, they don't. Now, this is first responded by Taylor, and she is a social media person, and she says, quote, "I wish men understood how attractive it is when they can feel and openly show their emotions instead of acting like a sociopathic thick brick wall." And here you can see a sports ball player breaking down because he misses his parents.
Yeah, I love them a lot. Yeah, I got 2 little brothers and my mum and dad, and yeah, that's the tough part about being here. I love them a lot and I miss them, but it's they know this is what's best for me, and it's good. I can still talk to them plenty over the phone, and they're coming here to see the first few games, so I'm looking forward to that. Cool. Thanks, guys. Great meeting you all.
Thank you.
Now, the only question is his athleticism and fame as a sports ball player greater than the amount of unattractiveness women just experienced by seeing him show a modicum of emotion? That's debatable. And this went pretty viral. It got 14.3 million views and 3.6 thousand likes. And she says, "Stop arguing with me in this post. Just scrolled the likes, and 75% are from women." Yeah, about that. One of the first comments comes from us thanks to Dex Swingin, saying, quote, "Wish you'd quit lying like this," getting 9.7 thousand likes. How many did she get again? 3.6 thousand? So, yeah, she was greatly ratioed, because not all, but many women, anytime you show any weakness or emotion or open up, not only are they no longer attractive to you because you're not the strong male figure, but also they tend to use that as ammunition when you're later inevitably fighting, as everyone does in relationships from time to time, some more than others. But yeah, I think any guy who's ever been in a relationship, they've all experienced at least one instance where they show self-vulnerability or they share too much, and all of a sudden that's being thrown back in their face during an argument just to hurt him and cut him at his deepest. Which, yeah, that's a low blow, but kind of what a lot of gals are known for. Tom Ott simply says, or has the GIF from Star Wars. We have Hayden Christensen saying, "Liar," getting 6.2 thousand likes. Yeah. Well, is this contrarian statement? It's funny. Only she seems to be speaking up, saying, "Oh yeah, women really want this." Women say a lot of things, but in actual practice, those are very different things. Kind of like, again, not to go down the cliche road of the nice guy. A lot of guys will use that as a crutch, be like, "Oh, well, you are weak, not nice." But yeah, women will say they want a nice guy, but they don't go for the bad boy. They say they want the nice guy. Again, there are nuances, of course. You also have Andre saying, quote, "It's hard to communicate how many men have had the experience of having our emotions used against us against women, very often by our own mother? Well, I don't know about that, but got 5.3 thousand likes. Cow Josh Bebop says, most of us have been mocked by women for showing emotions like this. Gained 4.1 thousand likes. She's still getting ratioed. Yep. Randy Treble says, okay, tell us a time where an ex cried and how much it aroused you. Well, wait, gained 2,000 likes. Yeah, exactly. No one likes that. Nick Summy says, quote, if you're on the first date with a guy and he starts crying because he hasn't seen his parents, who are visiting in 2 weeks and a month, and you are overcome with his attraction, there's a giant divide between sociopathic thick brick wall and emotional wreck in 1.3 thousand likes. Tim Poole says, my boyfriend cried in my arms tonight. Oh, he actually took a screenshot of a forum where, girls asking for advice. And someone asked, my boyfriend cried in my arms last night. How do we move forward? 1,000 likes. Let's see. Brad Torgensen says, quote, men are not allowed the luxury of wearing our pain on our sleeves. We never have been. The expectation of civilization is stoicism in the face of calamity, danger, crisis. Pain and grief will be exposed after in a safe company for those we know and will not judge. How this looks to women outside a man's intimate circle of family and close friends doesn't really matter. Gain 1,000 likes. She says men are allowed to express their emotions though. Yeah. And be immediately mocked and immediately have that thrown in your face. Taylor also says, I like the sociopathic brick wall type. If I'm being totally honest, gained 509 likes. Pi Diff says, I don't know about that. Gained 364 likes. As she claims, it lets women know that you have emotional capacity and you're less likely to hurt us. A man who never cries will likely spontaneously combust my heart and not feel anything about the pain caused to me. A man who sheds a tear during a sad movie tells me he's sad too if he hurts my heart one day. Gained 19 likes, which guys don't cry during sad movies. Even in the Fast and Furious, when the Toyota Supra is burst into flames, that is a sad moment, but you don't cry and break down. Let's see, is there anyone agreeing with her? Moonlander simply says, put the phone down, Pinocchio, getting 38 likes. She got 2 likes when she says, I'm not lying. I'm sick of everyone being so brainwashed into being a psycho wall. Yeah, and again, there's a difference between bringing a brick wall and, being, there's something about having a certain decorum if you're a guy, a certain way you carry yourself. I mean, you guys want to have your, shoulders high, good posture. And again, guys don't cry. We work in terms of, our outlets, we work for a living. We do a lot of, it used to be manual labor, but yeah, most guys bury themselves in their work if they have issues. It's one of the best ways. I mean, I want to say bench press will solve all your problems in life. Well, let's say 95% of problems can be solved by doing some bench press, doing some running. Running is especially great. Yeah, most guys just go to the gym, suck it up. If you're hanging out with the guys, maybe you have a beer, you'll bitch it, kind of complain to each other. But yeah, in terms of breakdown and crying, yeah, men don't do that. Rob McKay says, women say that's what they want, but as soon as they see it in person, they hate it. Yes, get 1,000 likes. She says, not me. Is she inebriated? And again, she does not a parody account. A lot of people having the gifs of the lie. Laura says, it's not remotely attractive. We need men to be strong and provide and protect us. We don't want emotionally fragile men who cry at the drop of a hat. Yes, having feelings and showing emotion is fine and in fact good, but it needs to be something that is reasonably controlled to gain 30 likes. Which, yeah, exactly. You have to control it. Mr. Search says, women hate it. They say that they want it, and they say they want it, and then they think of you as weak forever, getting 2.8 thousand likes. Payroll manager here says, quote, any man reading her tweet, please do not believe her, getting 10,000 likes. Agreed. George Alexampopoulos says, terrible advice. All men here discard it, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Let's see. Enrique says, women say that until their man's crying and lose all respect for him. Yes, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Jason Ramayo says, women, why don't guys share those emotions? Men shares emotions, women, and she looks cringe, getting 451 likes. Yeah. AC Pitcher says, I'm just here for the ratio, getting 460 likes. Yeah. Now, Matt Walsh, he says, quote, this is a trap, guys. Don't fall for it. No woman on earth actually finds it attractive when her husband or boyfriend sobs uncontrollably. Which, yeah, he got 2.7 million views and 49,000 likes, which, let me put that on the screen in front of me. I appreciate everyone's patience as I'm trying to make the show better and better. I did get some feedback where someone was pointing out that I kind of looked to the right or I guess that's the left, I forget. But it's an instance where, yeah, I have the script with the titles of each segment on one screen, then I have the materials on one screen, or the other screen, and then the other screen I have the camera. So appreciate all the feedback. I'm going to try to get better at putting the read material right in front of the camera. Now, Matt Walsh actually has a contrarian statement right off the bat. Patrick Lockwood says, quote, "You are the king of strawmen." Her exact words were, "Feel openly and show their emotions, and through some magic you found impossible interpretation of sobs uncontrollably." Getting 994 likes. Now Matt Walsh responded and ratioed this guy, saying, quote, "I'm based this on the video that she directly responds to, in which a man is sobbing uncontrollably," getting 2.1 thousand likes. Yeah. And again, when you go to college, I mean, I think every guy, or maybe I'm just trying to comfort myself, but I think every guy is sad that first night. First time you realistically been away from your parents in many instances, that's going to be sad. You might cry. I mean, after that, set up a phone cadence. You see him at holidays. I mean, I know a couple, I don't know any men who'd cried more than beyond day one. Now, you also have anti-woke memes says, quote, men know best in relationships. And Samantha Woman says, quote, "The longer we're married, the more I realize 95% of the time my husband is right. I just don't like his tone." Getting 396 likes. Yep. Anti-left memes says Noel is correct. And Noel says, quote, "If masculinity were truly toxic, when kids growing up without fathers would presumably be better off than those who don't have them, but they're not." Yeah. And 1.9 thousand likes. And yeah, spoiler alert, if you look at kids who end up committing the most amount of crimes, they're not coming from single father households or nuclear families. Yeah, they're coming from single mom households. Again, there's something about having discipline and authority in the house. Jeez Louise. RDK simply has a picture of a leftist. It says, "I show up as your nurse. Do you feel safe?" It's a guy with the cow ring. You know what? Those are claw piercings, short blonde hair, and the leftist glasses. In 323 likes. Philadelphia Critic says, quote, "When a woman says crying is attractive, they're picturing a single tear silently rolling down the face of a 6'4" bodybuilder after his dad died," getting 1.7 thousand likes. Again, I think there's 3 reasons you can cry. Again, your parents, if you're at the funeral leading it, you should be in control of your emotions if you're a man. But yeah, kind of cliche, but yeah, maybe someone died, or you see the Grand Canyon, or your daughter's getting married. I think those are the 3 times appropriately where you're allowed to actually cry. Brian Keith Teeny says, quote, "It's called being a pussy, and no, women don't want pussies," getting 111 likes. Like Lar Can says, "Case in point, no one finds this attractive," as Mr. Kinzinger, getting 160 likes for crying. Let's see. Cletus says, "This is her." And see, Finding Nemo, we have the big evil fish with the light on its head, luring the small cute fish to it, getting 323 likes. Rena Cruz says, "Why do women say it then?" Getting 69 likes. Contrarian comment, perhaps? Well, it's because they don't mean what they say. Again, men do this from time to time, but I think there's bigger discrepancy on one side. Sir Kensington says, quote, "You think women know what they want?" Getting 413 likes. Holy crap, yeah. So she got 69 likes, and he got 413 likes. That is one of the biggest ratios I've seen in a while. I also have Kiran saying, quote, "Same reason you say lots of crap and don't actually mean it, to appear virtuous when you're not," getting 23 likes. Molly Davis says, quote, "There are 2 times when my husband cried in front of me, when our son was born and when his father died. Those are the only acceptable reasons," getting 52 likes. 53 likes, going up like a stock. C.F. Dalton says, men sob outside of the intimate loss, men who sob outside of the intimate loss of their wife or child need their man card removed," getting 77 likes. Tide Extorter says, quote, "Kids fall apart, wife falls apart, me as husband gets to be the rock to let them fall apart upon. They need stability and someone to stay calm even in hard times. That is how a family gets through. I rely on God, so my family can rely on me," getting 162 likes. James Wright says, "If a man wants to run a woman off, he should cry in front of her," getting 136 likes. 137 actually. White with capital W says, "It's actually the exact opposite. Women need you to be the rock, a constant source of stability, even kneel emotion," getting 190 likes. It's funny, there's not a lot of gals, agreeing in the comment section here. Let's see. Laurel simply says, I would certainly not feel safe if my husband was a crybaby and could not control himself at all times, at all circumstances," getting 40 likes. Mignelia says, quote, "We just want a guy who gets teary-eyed, desperately tries to hold it back, but only in appropriate situations, like his mom dies, his kid graduates from school, he holds his first grandchild, things like that. Then it's endearing because it's rare," getting 140 likes, which, yeah. Yeah, culturally speaking, especially in the United States, yeah, don't cry and do that. Let's see here. Do we find a contrarian statement? This is from Carl Hindi. He's a psychologist, he claims. 32,000 likes. Doing better than me. Low bar, though. He says, see my book. His book is called Insecure Love. He looks like yeah. He says, quote, I'm a marriage counselor and very, very often see wives who want their husband to be capable and more vulnerable, to be able to label and communicate a wider range of emotions, to be able to admit times they failed themselves. Your phrase, sobbing uncontrollably, is a different thing. Are you using the phrase to shame men into keeping feelings to themselves? Getting 542 likes, which, I mean, yeah, they mostly should. Was he ratioed, though? Drew Frogman says, well, wives come to you to convince their husbands their failures, and you do that. It's messed up. Getting 33 likes. Yeah, 34. Let's see. Lady says, it's not surprising women want men to be more like women. Women understand women better, and often when to change people to be more like them, that's immature and you're complicit. Getting 29 likes, which, bad grammar. That wasn't actually grammatically correct, but I spoke it exactly as it was written. I think it's kind of funny. I think Bill Burr famously said, well, why would you want to understand? No, it's Al Bundy. Wow. OG. Peg, why would you want to understand women? Women understand women. They hate each other. Which, probably the worst Al Bundy impression of the year, but nevertheless, the attempt was made. So yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, if you're a guy, don't cry, because, yeah, the relationship will be over faster than those tears would dry. But let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have the illegal truck driver who killed 3 American citizens. Turned out, well, he failed his speaking exam as well as, well, signage exam from the authorities. Now, that's brought to us thanks to Greg Price over at X.com. He says, quote, holy crap, the federal investigators administered an English language proficiency assessment to the driver of the semi-truck who killed 3 people in Florida. He provided correct responses to just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identified 1 of 4 highway traffic signs, unquote, which, again, I'm no mathematician or math wizard, but yes, those are failing scores. In fact, 1 out of 4 is 25%, which, if you went to the public school in the United States, you might not know. I had to take extra classes, well, for many reasons, but yeah, 24% understanding, comprehensive of signs on the road, which, I mean, that's even extra pathetic because most of those don't even have English. They're like supposed to be universal symbols. How do you not understand universal symbols like do not do the turnaround here or no U-turn here? And understanding 2 out of 12 verbal questions. That is abysmally bad, to say the least. And yeah, this is also extra creepy. His eyes, I mean, when you looked at the camera, he had no remorse at all. And this one pretty well got 3.9 million views and 72,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Greg Price, who says, quote, and despite not being able to say English and read traffic signs, the states of California and Washington gave him a license to drive an 18-wheeler on the road, getting 14,000 likes. And yeah, that's a lot of people wonder, what's the side effect? What does it matter if we gave illegals driver's license? And then the next step, well, one of those things where ease of access. Once you have one piece of documentation, pretty easy to, maybe they request your citizenship or your birth certificate when you get a CDL or commercial driver's license. Well, it's easy to say, oh, I have this one. I have a driver's license. I forgot the other piece of paper. Is that okay? And before you know it, they're doing jobs where they're not qualified for and causing dangerous situations like this. You also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, California is terrible. Shame on them. Getting 411 likes. Based Electrician says, quote, didn't Trump put an end to non-English speaking truck driving? Getting 28 likes, which, yeah, that was an executive order. Again, I'm not sure what kind of infrastructure was actually placed down to actually test them. Let's see if they, let's see. To respond to that, Lane says, quote, it's been illegal for decades, but just not enforced. He signed an executive order, not too sure where the law enforcement stands, getting 16 likes. Gina 2024 says there are still a lot of Democrats that just ignore it, getting 11 likes. Which, yeah. Inginzibi, as the picture of Gavin Newsom's face plastered onto his body, getting 3.5 thousand likes. Sentient ham sandwich. It's really come to life. Now, the real question is, how does a ham sandwich type on a cell phone? Perhaps it is using voice to text. I shouldn't make so many assumptions of the sentient ham sandwich, who says, quote, I say this without an ounce of animus. He should be executed and serve as a warning. You serve as a warning. Getting 5.4 thousand likes, which, yeah, I don't know what judge you would have. In the United States, again, there are different classifications, murder versus manslaughter, intended versus unintended. And again, yeah, I mean, if you're here illegally and you kill 3 people, basically showing no remorse, you're breaking multiple laws, I don't see the upside of having you around. Maybe that means they deport him back to his country of origin. I don't think that is actually harsh enough, even if you were to send him somewhere terrible like Canada or Canada, as they pejoratively pronounce it. Now you have Cargo saying, quote, we need ICE agents at truck weigh stations nationwide, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Let's see. Kyle says, so can the family sue the shit out of Washington, California, get 5.3 thousand likes? Perhaps. George Alexopoulos says, whoever gave him permission to drive needs to go to jail, getting 936 likes. Jerry Boy says they did it. It's a picture of Joe Biden and Gavin Newsom, getting 214 likes. Let's see. You have George L, and it says DMV Olympics. It's got Gavin Newsom with a cow nose giving the ID or a commercial driver or CDL, also known as a commercial driver's license, to him. It says can't prove legal status. Here's a CDL. Let's say what can go wrong. They got 249 likes. Social media. Mountain Farmer says, why can't we have public hangings anymore? Getting 325 likes, which, well, in most states, I believe it still is over, I think it is a majority of the states, they actually do not have the death penalty in terms of an option for judges to give to offenders. Some states actually do allow death by firing squad. It's very rare in terms of the United States 2025, the most popular, most common methodology in which courts will execute an execution. Grammatically correct, but awkwardly sounding, is usually with lethal injection, which I would say ridiculously overpriced. Carthago Delante says, quote, I never want to hear another lecture about immigration, seeking a better life, etc. ever again. Our lives are shittier because of it. The people who let these monsters into our country have names when our high-trust society will continue to fade away, and they will never accept it's their own damn fault, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Yep. And again, this just creates further animus towards immigrants, who again, many of them are here legally, but this is just further, I think, generating disdain towards people, and maybe some people who are also not assimilating to American culture and, learning English. Because again, I mean, people died because of this. Now, Grumpy says, if he passed a CDL class, the CEO of the training company and possibly the instructor need to be charged with vehicular homicide along with the driver, getting 1.3 thousand likes. Sonny Sailor says, quote, is this one he missed? Which, yeah, he did an improper U-turn that got 1.1 thousand likes, which, again, even if I couldn't speak English, I would think that I would be able to understand no U-turn. Let's see. Forged Training says, I hope the families sue the living F out of everyone, getting 312 likes. Intuitive Karen says, quote, what about the company that hired him? Shouldn't they have any culpability? Getting 383 likes. Yep. I do wonder, a lot of people are having similar sentiments. I do wonder if he was just an independent, contractor. Was he a full-time employee? Chief Engineer says, who thinks this is the only one? We need a national emergency to call due to this. Every foreign worker needs a thorough background check, whether legal or illegal, the system is failing us, getting 936 likes. PJ says, Biden did this. He tried to ruin our country. Biden and his entire family are horrid pieces of shit. Getting 170 likes. Let's see. The Ghost of Kiev says, peak human capital that must replace white people. Thank you, Elon, getting 457 likes. Which I think that's referencing Elon's stance on H-1B and importation of labor. And I believe this guy is maybe Indian or he's a Sikh. He has the turban on. But yeah, Elon is very much in favor of importing foreign labor. Let's see here. Also, the News Junkie says, quote, no U-turn sign marked official use only. Made no sense to him. How did he get his CDL license? Sounds like a pay-to-play scandal like Illinois had, which again, I purposely mispronounced as a slight to that rudimentary state, gained 492 likes, which, yeah, that's, oh, geez. Serendipity says, quote, California man. It's the guy, well, actually it looks, a parody of Marlboro Man, the old cigarette tobacco company's mascot. And he's on the horse and he's got the Marlboro, not the logo, but same motif, same kind of background color combo. And that got 86 likes. Dan Taylor says, political ideology is more important for Democrats than, say, communities, getting 262 likes. Which, I mean, perhaps the best example being, the city of Chicago, which I'm sure will be great next year. Just like the Chicago Bears, which, spoiler alert, yeah, it's been decades. I don't think that will be good again, like the city of Chicago. I'm sure it'll be safe next year after 100 years of doing the same thing. But, yeah, obviously it won't be. But again, it's sad that, again, American citizens died because of this instance. I mean, I don't know how much infrastructure and human resource capital it would take to actually properly vet every single one of those CDL drivers. But yeah, definitely not working out the current way. I do think Trump should pull federal funding from states that do give the driver's license to illegals. Because again, you have instances like this and it's incentivizing negative behavior. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be vested here what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Minnesota Representative, or soon-to-be Representative, Omar Fateh, having a rally with, well, no American flags and no American language. This is brought to us on X thanks to End Wokeness. And he says, quote, Omar Fateh rally in Minneapolis last night, 0 English, 0 American flags, which, I mean, at least he did suit up as all men should. He does at least look like a politician, well, or at least a gentleman, so to say. This is in Minneapolis. Perhaps the only time you'll be happy that YouTube takes out the music and you don't hear it, which I would argue is more annoying than my voice, which is saying something.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Edo. Yes, Edo. Yes, Edo.
He looks so awkward standing there in the beginning. Which, again, I don't have much ground to stand on. I'm pretty much awkward in many social situations. But, yeah, an interesting lack of American flags and, yeah, American language. Which, again, is Minneapolis. They've imported so many Somalians, it's basically Somalia 2.0. So, again, he's appealing to his voters. But it is quite concerning that, yeah, he shares a lot of those socialist ideals that Democrats are leaning more and more into. Yeah, no common language anymore, and no American flag. In fact, Minneapolis is such a weak, conquered, pathetic city that their flag, which used to be, I would argue, beautiful, historic, well-designed, artistic, well, it's been replaced by a rudimentary flag that looks like slightly different than the flag of Somalia. That's how weak and conquered, pathetic that Minneapolis, Minnesota has become. It's like 3 colors and a star, and Somalia has 2 colors and a star. So they added 1 extra color. Let's just say a kid in kindergarten could design a flag 1,000 times better than Minnesota's flag. Now, again, this got about 2.3 million views as well as 12,000 likes on X. One of the first comments come to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, deport them all before it's too late, gain 2.7 thousand likes, which, again, what legal mechanism would you do to perform that? It's an instance where, again, many of them were illegally imported under the Biden-Harris administration without proper vetting, literally just flew over. But a lot of them are also, there are some of them that are here legally. I don't know of any legal mechanism. There was a law, I believe in the 50s, to combat communism where you could deport communists. It's been decades since that's actually been enforced and used as a mechanism to get rid of the folks. So, I mean, I don't, let me know in the comments, I don't know what legal mechanism you could do. Valentina Gomez says, quote, all those dirty Muslims hate America, getting 3.8 thousand likes. And again, she's trying to run for that governor. I forget the specific political position in Texas. And she also says, well, she's campaigning saying she's going to deport them all. Which, again, one of those things where I don't agree with everything Vivek Ramaswamy says, but I do agree that he actually would extrapolate on his ideals and say how he would do things. Most politicians don't, Valentina especially. Even if I agree with, I mean, she is of the opinion that, founding fathers had Judeo-Christian values. Our country should be, that should continue to be the foundation of our country. I think it should be, but she doesn't really give examples of, oh yeah, I'm going to use A, B, and C mechanisms and bolden to me if I were to win this position of political power that would allow me to do this. And so, again, everyone's saying, got to deport them. How? You also have David Santa Clara saying, quote, urge to deport rising. I was going to say, not Captain America, Homelander with the America hat, getting 249 likes. Amelia Henderson says, quote, look at him. And it's I forget it's the movie with Tom Hanks, so that doesn't narrow it down much, but it's the pirate movie. And the guy goes famously says, look at me, I'm Captain now. And they Photoshop the guy's face onto it. And instead it says, I am mayor of the shithole now. Which, Minneapolis, yeah, so 89 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, it's time to defund Minnesota. Gained 272 likes. Dr. Shari says, quote, this is the Obama playbook. First Obama, then Mariami, then Fateh. Who's funding these subversive anti-American foreigners? Gained 50 likes. Which, yeah, and Zoran over in New York City, or Shitty as I call it pejoratively. Yeah, he won the DMC primary. He's projected to win. He wants everything from banning guns to having the government seize property and control things like grocery stores and housing. Yeah, radical to say the least. Amelia Henderson says, quote, if they reject American values so fiercely, maybe a one-way ticket to Somalia would clarify their priorities. We can't rebuild a homeland when you're busy sabotaging here, getting 61 likes. I mean, you also have Somalians who became American and have American positions of power, politically speaking, where they say their number one priority is Somalia, not America. If you say that, I do think that would be, if you're a public official, that would be grounds for deportation or losing your job. If you have allegiances to another country above your own, and again, sometimes Republicans have that too, maybe you shouldn't have the position of power. The conservative alternative says, quote, this guy looks familiar. And it's another, joke about the captain now. Which again, at least this guy suits up. Which, again, kind of the baseline for most public-facing things. Going down more and more. Krug Co. says, please enlighten me. It says, quote, you sent me to the Middle East to fight, suffer, and die, then turn and invite these scumbags to the United States. What kind of stupid are you? Getting 459 likes. And again, some people are referencing the IQ of people in Somalia, which is below you or global average. And this is from, it says IQ classifications, in psychiatric use, diagnosed with statistical manual of mental disorders, 4th edition, American Psychiatric Association, where they claim that IQ 57 is mild mental retardation. This person by Luki Valera claims that IQ of Somalia is 68. They got 214 likes. Robert Severe says, in 1900, more than 60% of Minnesota's hardworking foreign-born populace came from Germany, Norway, and Sweden. Now it is a Marxist Muslim toilet full of uneducated, unskilled Somalians demanding welfare, higher taxes on whites, and Sharia law. Democrats are disgusting, getting 2,000 likes. Which, also, there are a lot of, and it's being exposed thanks to investigative reporters, there are a lot of people abusing the system in Minneapolis. A very common one is Somalian women are claiming they're single motherhood to get those big, juicy government benefits, but they are, in fact, not single mothers. There are a lot of them using a lot of these funding mechanisms, to rob taxpayers. So, again, we'll see. Let's see here. Well, contrarian statement. Prikasha Mina says, so USA nationalism is limited to English and flag only, getting 52 likes, which, again, no, but I think those are important things. Having a unification of language and one flag to represent all of us, I think that is part of the basis of the United States. Let's see. Is he ratioed? Yes. The oppressive opossum, the national opossum? Impressive. They could type now. But in all seriousness, the oppressive opossum says, quote, yes, English is the language and stars and stripes is the flag. If you don't agree, GTFO, getting 160 likes. 161 now, which, assimilation is also key through a country. If you come here, you should be thankful and also, embrace our values. Embrace the Bill of Rights. Things like freedom of speech, the right to defend yourself, the Second Amendment. It's extremely concerning that some of these guys want to ban weapons in common use. Yeah, it's one of those things where, funny how you never see a Cuban flag in the United States. Because again, Cuba is a shithole. It's conquered, it's a dictatorial communist hellhole. There's a reason my family's never swung a Cuban flag ever. We fly the stars and stripes, or me, Texas flag as well. Sometimes higher than the American flag, which is illegal. Some might say I'm a rebel without a cause. But, we'll see. Again, I think, given the demographics of Minneapolis and their historic voting patterns, I think he's probably going to win the election. But let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Drinkmate recalling their 1-liter carbonated bottles. Well, because, whoops, might just cut you up because of lacerations. Now, this brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website, which, well, it's not saying much, I guess, because the bar is so low. And they say, quote, Drinkmate recalls 1-liter carbonated bottles due to a serious impact and laceration hazards. Here you can see some of those recalled Drinkmate bottles right there. And they note that the recalled Drinkmate 1-liter carbonated bottles can explode during use, causing serious impact of laceration and hearing damage to users and bystanders, affecting 106,200 units, in addition to about 5,000 that were sold into the state or country of Canada. Here you see a close-up of some of those identification markers. They note that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled bottles and contact Drinkmate to receive a free replacement. You can fill out a replacement form at idrinkproducts.com/pages/Drinkmate safety recall 11 PET bottles. Upload a photo of the bottle permanently marked with the word recall and properly dispose of it. Consumers will receive a code to get a free replacement through their website, shipping included. And fortunately, no, they did not get ahead of this recall because, well, people have been hurt. They note that Drinkmate has received 8 reports of the bottle exploding while in use, including 4 reports resulting in lacerations, impact injuries, and hearing damage. These looks like they were sold online at idrinkproducts.com, Walmart, Amazon, Target, Home Depot from April 2023, from October 2024 for about $20 individually, or $130 as part of a pair of the Drinkmate Omni Fizz starter kits. And yeah, definitely a downside of making your own soda pop at home, or I don't know what you call it, soda or pop, let me know in the comments. But yeah, all that carbonation, whoopsies, turns out to have a little negative side effect. And well, obviously it's going to result in lawsuits. Thankfully, no one died from it. So again, it's not as bad as it could be, but already having some issues with aid reports the bottles exploding, hurting folks. Yeah, that's not good. I'm going to say, yeah, for certain, Drinkmate, gotta say you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.